everyone, welcome to another Craftyhallett video. I've been asked to show you how to make these little baskets. If you saw my basket I made at Christmas, it was bigger than this one and didn't have the lid that I made using the scallop tag punch. So how do you make one? First off, you're going to start with a square, and I'm using a smaller square, so I'm going to use a square of 6 by 6. But the most important thing I've meant to tell you before you cut your square, ignore my instruction to cut a square, start with this. This is the hardwood stamp, which is lovely and gives that whole wood texture to the basket. You don't have to use the whole hardwood stamp, you can use anything that's got a texture to it. And I'm going to be stamping this one up with baked brown sugar ink, and I find it easier to turn the stamp upside down and place the ink onto it like this. And you want to cover the whole piece of A4 in the wood pattern. Now don't get too precious about trying to match it up, because you're going to be folding it into a basket shape anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And in terms of how much to do, just do the whole piece of A4 and cover it over like this, and then turn the piece of A4 around and do the other side, trying to match up the grain of the wood. But again, don't worry too much about where it joins, because you will be covering and making a basket from it. So once you've covered your entire piece of A4, you are going to use those bits, so don't worry too much about it. Don't clean your stamp yet. I'm going to show you a trick with it in a minute. So once you've done that, line up your cardstock at 6 inches and cut a square that is 6 by 6. And put those pieces to one side for the moment. Then you're going to need your envelope punch board. Oh, and this here is an instruction sheet from my friend Annelle. Annelle finds it very dull and tedious to watch my videos, but she wants the instructions on how I make things, and so has requested that I write them out, or that I speak slower. I'm not going to speak slower, but I am going to write them out for her. So there's the little sheet for Annelle. Now, line this up on your punch board at 1.5 and punch and score down. Then turn it round, 1.5, punch and score down, 1.5, punch and score down, 1.5, punch and score down. Then flip it over, line it up at 1.5 again, punch, line it up at 1.5, punch. You don't need to score, because you've already scored, and you do that on all 4 sides. Now, lining your pointer up with the score line here, so you've pulled it along so it lines up on this side at 4.5, you're going to use the score line down, and you do that on all 4 sides. And that's that with the scoreboard for now. Put that to one side. Next up, we're going to take our snips and trim up the sides of the basket. And again, I find it easier if you trim the score line away. I think it's neater rather than just trying to cut a slit. So I'm actually just taking a very fine slither out. I think they fit better if you do it this way. It's up to you though. Just find that I get a better result if I cut the score line away. So I'm cutting out a very thin wedge. And of course these really sharp scissors from Stampin' Up make it really easy, because they've got such a sharp point. And so it's really easy to do that. Here we are, cutting up again. And the last one. There we go. Now you need to fold all your score lines in on your basket. Fold them up. And where this one's scored, you will probably need to take your scoreboard, and you take this piece here And you're going to do another score line, and it's usually about 1/4 inch away up from the top of the other one. Hang on, there we go. So I've come in 1/4 inch from the existing score line, just on these two sides, because they're the sides where the basket goes. You can just fold it when it's time to fold it, but I've made enough of these now to know that that 1/4 inch score makes the difference. And so in terms of forming the basket, you'll note that these sides now want to come up to be a basket and come square like this, to create a flat line there, and you've got a triangle here. And then you fold that one over, and you'll see that that second score line that I've just done just makes it fold in neater to make the neat shape for the basket. And then this one folds over this way. So this is the base of the basket, like this. So if we now then just take some glue, and I'm going to use snail for speed, but you can use glue. And all you do is run a little snail on all the triangle points. Oops. A lot of this is coming up. There we go, that's better. And then a little bit on that point, and a little bit on there. You can use glue and then hold it down so it will hold. Take it across and hold it and pop it over. Take it across, hold and over, and then tip the two basket ends in. And that's your basic basket shape. It will now hold quite firmly. The next bit you need to make is the tag topper punch. Now that you've made your basket, you're going to want to make the lid, and the lid is taken by grabbing hold of a piece of the card that you'd already stamped, and you need to cut a piece which is 1.5 inches wide by 4 inches long. And you need another piece, so you need 2 of them. So that's 2 pieces, 1.5 inches by 4 inches long. And then, whilst you've still got your trimmer here, line up one end at 1/2 inch and score it. So you're lining up one end at 1/2 inch and score, and then line the other end up at 1 inch and score. Taking the piece that you scored at 1 inch, pop it inside the envelope inside the scallop tag, and you will see that it doesn't, you have to line it up in the middle and punch across. And the same on the other one. You're going to line it up in the middle roughly, punch across. That's just to get your scallop lined up evenly. And you'll find now that you've got 2 pieces to attach, and that's your lid. So this piece will have to be trimmed down into a tab so that it sticks neatly into the box. And you do that by trimming off the triangles. Let's put my trimmer out of the way. And use a little bit of the snail to show you what I mean. Snail, there we go. So that's now here. And you just pop that in its place. And that folds down. And then the other one comes along. And that pops in and folds down. And then they meet, oops, if you glued them with snail, it should stick eventually. Here we go. Just pop that in and hold it firmly. And then move that across, and they then join in the middle, like this. Now, if you then want, you should join like this. If you then want to add your handle, you're going to need to take a strip from what's the spare bits that were left, and you trim it at 1 inch, and about 6 inches is enough. Isn't always. If you then take your stamp that I said don't clean your stamp, and just lay this strip on top of it, it will allow you to put some ink pattern on the other side. This then folds over and becomes the handle that you attach here and here. And that is how to make your basket. And now the rest of how you make the basket is just decoration. That's entirely up to you how you decorate. I hope you enjoy making these baskets. Take care. Bye.